Namaskar. Good morning to all of you watching this show. So, welcome to yet another episode of Meet Your Qualitist for the month. Uh, as you know, we started this initiative more than a year ago where we decided to interview all those who become qualitists, who've been given the title of qualitist. Qualitist, of course, is a title that was suggested by the great Dr. Duran in his magnum opus that he wrote, one of the few books towards the end of his life that he edited himself, called A History for Managing for Quality. You could go through that wonderful piece of work. He invited writers from all over the world to contribute because he wanted to show the development of quality in different parts of the world. And Mr. Suresh Lulla, our guru, our very own Dr. Duran, wrote the section on quality in India. Towards the end of the book, he said that we should give the status of a quality professional on par with the status of a finance professional, and he said we should use the word qualitist. I believe we are the first body in the world to adopt that term, and not only just adopt it, we came up with a proper recognition which you have to apply for, and so that you feel that you've earned it, and it's not just bestowed like for any other kind of recognition that's given without any thinking. All your credentials are of course judged by a panel of extreme jurists. But yes, please, you can apply for this for those who haven't. For those who have, welcome to yet another edition, and I'd like to welcome my partner in crime, uh, Anshuman Tiwari, who's also a politist. Morning, Anshuman.
Morning,
And
morning, morning.
namaste. And today, actually,
Mm.
we can go beyond just morning and namaste, and we should say assalamu alaikum. We got a very unique guest today
Sure, sure.
from.
And specifically on Eid. So but we'll
Yeah.
get to that.
Well,
But we'll get to that. Before that, a little bit of reminder to all the people who joined. So if you joined us on LinkedIn or YouTube, drop me some messages as to whether you have joined and what you're looking forward to in the show. You can also leave your questions right now. Usually we ask for them later. So welcome to the show, and we will look forward to your questions. We have a very special guest today, and a
yep.
distinguished politist and also a professor, so quite used to giving answers to questions. So we look forward to that. One request before we jump into the show, of course, is that it takes a lot to put together these shows, and I know you all appreciate, but you don't show your appreciation, right? So that is not good. So if you are online, watching this on LinkedIn or YouTube, press the like button, follow us, follow the speakers, follow the share. Because what happens is that when you do that, other people get to know that you are interested in this topic, and the mission flows. We are not interested in our personal glory, but then the mission and the topic of politics that goes to more people, right? So that's the reason why we are very keen that you like, share, comment, and spread the word, right? So when you do that, I- either on YouTube or LinkedIn, it helps the mission, right? So with that quick announcement, and I will remind you of this later on as well. I'm also a difficult teacher, so I will do that once again. But with that, quickly we'll get into the show. We'll invite Mr. Lula, who has started this whole journey of Qualitist, and yeah, he doesn't need any introduction, so I'll skip that part. Uh, Welcome, Mr. Lula, once again to your own show. And namaste, and over to you.
And sir, before we proceed in person, let us wish you a happy birthday for the 7th of July.
Thank you so much.
How old are you? 18?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, wow.
I have 2 years to go.
Okay. That's the spirit.
Okay.
Anshuman, we need to hide our faces somewhere.
Yeah. Sir, over to you.
Okay. Welcome to all the qualities who are attending the program, and a special welcome to Tariq. I've known Tariq for 15 years plus, and we met for the first time at the Global Benchmarking Network event. we clicked. And over these years, Tariq has invited me to Kuwait to conduct various training programs on quality. And we have reciprocated by Kimpro inviting Tariq to be a judge at one of our Qualtech Prize events. I think Balaji remembers that. Now, Tariq is a qualitist through and through. I have seen him listen to his students and seen him demystify the answers. That's quite an art. A communicator, a true teacher. He demystifies the answer. Tariq reminds me of King Faisal. King Faisal in Lawrence of Arabia. Have any of you heard of the movie?
Of
In the
course.
60s, it was very popular. And I would say that Alec Guinness played that role of King Faisal. Calm, he listened, and he gave gentle responses. Tariq reminds me of King Faisal. If you haven't seen the movie, please, I urge you to see it as one of the best movies I have ever seen in my life.
David Niven.
Tariq, thank you so much for agreeing to be on this show with the time differences and the special occasion that it is today. Eid Mubarak.
Thank you.
Over to you, Anshuman.
Sure, sir. Thank you very much. Eid Mubarak from all of us as well. And we have, I think, a message quickly in the show as well. Bakari, our friend, very regular visitor, he joins us from Africa, so he's also wishing you Eid. What we'll do very quickly for anybody who's new in the show. First of all, Professor Tariq, we would like to hear from you any opening comments that you have, and then we will get into the questions as the show progresses. So over to you.
Good morning to you all, and thank you for your invitation. I'm truly honored to be chosen as a qualitist. I know the quality of my friend Suresh, and so being chosen is a very special thing in my life. And like what my friend Suresh have said, we've met about 15 years ago, and that meeting have really made a change in the way I look at quality, I practice quality, and in general, I see how I should conduct my life. We've done some work together, and I'm very proud of the work that we've done, and I cherish our friendship so much, and I look forward for the years to come. I also would like to tell you happy birthday. And like I've just mentioned earlier, I don't see any change. You haven't changed, my friend. And just to remind you, these are the same glasses that I had when I first met you. So you look very well. And hopefully you stay in good health, my friend. And I wish you a great life. I mean, I'm really happy for this opportunity, and I hope that as every quality person says, I hope I meet your expectation and I exceed your expectations. So let's hit it.
Thank you very much. Balaji, over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anshuman. Tariq Saab, I mean, you're a qualitist today, and but we'd like to know about your early career. Did you begin in the field of quality, or was this something that happened to you by happenstance or by accident or by design? In other words, your early career and how you got into quality.
Yes, I started, as you know, as an academic, and I studied in the US at Arizona State University. And my area is industrial and management systems engineering, industrial and management systems engineering. And in this field, quality is a major part of this discipline. So quality inspection at the time in the 80s, quality inspection is the main area. You know, we've done a lot of quality inspection and sampling plans and all these things, and quality control. And also, when I graduated, that happened at a very unfortunate time, exactly at the time of the invasion of Kuwait. So I had the opportunity to also teach at Arizona State University, and I taught engineering statistics. And I always say statistics is dear to my heart. And I believe that statistics, and I think many people probably have said this before, is the language of quality. So learning about variation, how variation impact quality, you can measure it, and I think it's very critical. I came back to Kuwait after liberation, and I joined Kuwait University. At the time, there wasn't industrial engineering, so I taught in mechanical engineering, but I taught in quality. So they've had to open special courses for me where I taught quality. And for 27 years, I've been at Kuwait University. And in 2017, I said, enough, I'm getting too old, too tired. So I quit Kuwait University and I focused on my own professional practice because I had a consulting and training office since 2005. So now, currently, I'm totally committed to my own professional practice. And let me tell you, quality is dear to my heart, and quality is in the heart of what I do. So that's how quality came about in my life and in my career.
Wow. So by absolutely by design. And also you started at the heart of it, that is statistics. We always, we were taught this in school, if we, that mathematics is the language of physics, and you rightly said that statistics is the language of quality. So yeah, wow, wonderful. Yeah, Anshuman, if you
Sure.
could.
Thank you, Professor. And it's always very interesting to ask this question. And we ask this question to every guest. You are the 12th guest in the series. When we ask this question, and each time there's something new to learn because each person's journey is different, and it also tells our audience that there is no formula, there is no specific road. We all have to find our roads, and the only formula is that commitment to quality, and you keep finding your path from that. So that is another demonstration or illustration of from a wonderful career. My question is to build on this, and you mentioned more than 25 years in Kuwait University, and earlier also in the US, teaching. So your association with academics and the field is quite strong. So my question, and this is a question that has we have discussed in our group quite often, that quality and education go hand in hand. So the better the quality of education, the better the quality of society in general. Right? So, but we often find across the world, specifically in developing countries and other regions, that the quality in education is not really that high. And since you bridge that both the professions, what would be your views on quality in education, the importance of quality in education, and then how can we do that going forward? Over to you.
That's an excellent question. I mean, as a matter of fact, most, at least higher school universities, are so much into accreditation and into quality assurance. Similarly, when you talk about public education and high school and so on, similar. I mean, schools are interested in quality assurance. They mentioned quality assurance. A lot of them are so much interested in accreditation, especially private schools. Currently, as a matter of fact, I'm also involved in one of the institutions, academic institutions in Kuwait, to modernize their curriculum and improve it. Now, as a matter of fact, quality, goes right in the heart of education, because when you talk about teaching, you talk about having a program, you have a curriculum, and so you have to design that program and that curriculum. Now, if you want to design it well, you have to apply the principles of quality of design. And the main aspect of quality of design is to identify what the customer or what the end user wants from that graduate. And from that, you start identifying the aspects of the program that you want to instill in that graduate. And you design the courses accordingly. And then you go into the actual practice. And as you know, faculties come from different backgrounds. Each and every one of them has his own, way of thinking, and they don't have the same level of competency. So it's critical that you make sure that you apply the principles of quality of conformance, making sure that they are consistent in the way they comply with the design that you've set up. And of course, you have to monitor and make sure that whenever there is any deviation, you try to interfere and make the correction. And as my friend Suresh said, that this is great, but you still have to go on the journey of problem solving and improvement. And so you have to always work to improve what you have and to change. Change is a critical aspect of improvement, and you cannot. You see, one of the main problems with education is that the resistance to change. I mean, faculty come with their own, set mind, and they think that they know it all, and so they have a high resistance for change. Believe it or not. I mean, you think the opposite, but actually, my own experience is that the main obstacle to to instilling quality in our education system is faculty. So you see that the whole story of quality of design, quality of conformance, quality improvement is engulfing the whole practice of education. And if you want to, excel, you really have to master the essence of these processes. And so that's actually my experience, and that's what I do. And I believe that without quality, education would not really flourish and improve the way it should be, and really produce the kind of graduate that actually the market and the companies are looking for.
No, well said. I think you said something that struck a chord, is that quality goes into the heart of education, and all quality principles are actually designed for pretty much this. So we can apply them to education as well. And glad to know that you are doing that. So thank you very much. Balaji, over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you said a lot of things because coincidentally, I also am a professor for quality, and I moved from industry into academia. And
I
when
hope
you
I didn't
mentioned,
say anything outside the realm of your.
absolutely not, I'm absolutely in tune. When you said accreditation, you saw me nod my head. You can go back and see the video because I said finally someone spoke like me, because I've been
Okay.
screaming my throat hoarse over here. In India also, we have the whole focus is on accreditation. I understand the concept of accreditation, but uh, the teaching somewhere has gone out. We forget that the The customer is society, the customer is the industry, and the whole thing is being, again, the conformance, but they've conformed to whatever, the assurance thing that comes in, but nobody is interested in the
But
learning of it.
Balaji, let me tell you, I had an experience about a week ago. I was invited to the Parliament of Kuwait to discuss education and why Kuwait, in the last ranking in QS, Kuwait University has really didn't fare well. So they asked me as an expert to talk about it. And I was really astonished that I see, representative of that university saying that I don't care about what others think. I don't care about, whatever happens outside. My main focus is on giving good education, faculty, hiring good faculty and stuff. And I say, oh my God, I mean, this is the first principle of quality. You should care for what the people outside think. So it strikes you. You think that these simple things are they go without saying, but actually some people don't know about them. So that was a big astonishment for me.
Yeah, I had a similar experience years ago over here when I was invited to a national seminar on education. It was engineering education, and there was a person who came and started talking about quality in education. And we have a 10th grade exam, which is a public exam. And he said, we are very strict about quality in our school. So all those who don't do well in the ninth grade, we throw them out so that in the 10th grade we have the cream. I said, what are you even doing? But yeah, that's sad. That's how it's looked at. So yeah, I mean, since you mentioned about education, uh, some of the key distinguishing quality practices that you might have, besides, of course, the traditional stuff that you looked at, the design, conformance, and improvement, is there anything that you feel that, other domains could sort of adapt and adopt from you? I won't say imitate, because that's some things you come across which you'd like to share with us, while implementing quality in education. Is there something distinguishing that you'd like to point out and feel that other domains, can?
In my consulting practice, the important thing is not to come with a preset set of tools, or approach even. You should come with an open mind and listen very carefully. And like my friend Suresh said in his, problem-solving approach, we should really work very hard on learning and defining the problem. This is a key step in the process. So I always say, make sure that you define well the problem, and make sure once you do that, is that you communicate it with the owner of the project to make sure that he is on the same wave with you, knows exactly what you're working on. And of course, this is, I think, the first step to success in any consulting job. And don't be afraid of cooking up your own approach or adapting your own tools. I mean, you've learned all these things and they are in the back of your mind, but don't let them constrain you. Don't let them constrain you. Try to keep your brain free. Be innovative. That's very critical for success. And of course, success is not only steps and approach and tools, it's people as well. So take care of the people that work with you and make sure that they are happy, give them credit, and that would really help you to succeed in whatever you are doing. There is no, I mean, I it's stick to the basics. Okay, I mean, people talk about so many big words and big phrases and stuff. I mean, quality, make sure that you start from the right place, customer. That's where you should start and reverse engineer, work your way backward. Don't start from in and go out. I mean, you should start from out and come in. Believe me, these things sometimes come surprise to some. So it's critical that you start from the right place. It's critical that also at least early on you visualize where you're going, so you know how to get there. And also, like I said, try not to constrain yourself with specific tools. That's a common mistake I find, especially in young people who start the practice. And also, one of the things that I find very helpful is Duran's trilogy, where you have the big picture in place. When you look at the quality practice, it's quality planning, quality control, and quality improvement. Once you have that big picture, bird's eye view, you start from the right place, you know where you're going, you're in good hands.
Absolutely. There were the two things you said which really struck. I love the word you said that people should be happy. People talk about satisfaction, but what about happiness? I think Suresh sir wants to say something. Suresh sir.
Yeah, and very interesting discussion. It's for the first time we are seeing an education focus in our chats. And I appreciate all the inputs that it has provided. I'll go to a fundamental. Who defines quality? Customer. Who's the final inspector? Customer. Who pays your salary? Customer. Now, in manufacturing, the customer receives an output from a process he's blind to and takes a call. I like it, I don't like it, I like this car better than that car, and votes for that product with money. That's most of our education is built around that model. In healthcare, the customer is also the family. And the customer, human life is at stake. So you have a lot more reliability engineering built into it. Human life is at stake. You can lose a reputation as a doctor if you have an accident. Still harder is education. In a school, who is the customer first? The parent. As you educate the child, somewhere along the line, the customer becomes the child. The needs of the child change. And the more you educate them, the needs keep evolving. You can't have rigid processes. You've got to be agile. You've got to be proactive with the customer, with the student, to understand their needs and of industry to absorb them. So the more complex application of quality is in the field of education. That's the comment I wanted to make, and I'm so glad you brought up the subject. Over to you.
Thank you very much, sir. I think, Professor Tariq, you said one thing which kind of struck with me and has stayed with me. So I will want you to build on that a little bit. You very briefly mentioned that, particularly youngsters who come in, don't pay attention to the basics of quality and so on. So, and you built on that. And my question, and this is a question that many of quality professionals today ask, particularly when youngsters are not joining quality profession as much as they should, or maybe in earlier times. What would be your advice to somebody joining the quality profession today? Uh, or maybe the same question can be 25 years ago, the Tariq of then, what would you, if you had the ability to go back in time, one of the Hollywood movies of Back to Future or something, you could go back in time, and what advice would you give to the younger Tariq, who's now well established, but at that time? So, over to you.
I believe that the most important, I don't want to say advice, recommendation to youngsters is to make sure that they master the fundamentals before they start chasing the fads. I see lots of even older people. They start talking about so many terms and stuff and quality and blah blah blah. But when you ask them the most fundamental questions about what quality is, and the fundamentals and principles of quality, you will find them getting lost. And that's why, as a matter of fact, in 2019, I wrote a book. It's called The Cardinals of Quality. The Cardinals of Quality. And if you see that book, I mean, each chapter is just two words. What is quality? Why? So it's really trying to make sure that, because I got so annoyed as I'm practicing quality to find out that people really don't have it in terms of what the basics of quality is. So my recommendation to young people is to be good students, to people like my friend Suresh, and really get the essence. You see, when I had that opportunity 15 years ago to listen to my friend Suresh, it really registered, because he really talks about quality in a very fundamental, clear, without any, blah 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 blah, yeah, and very calmly, and get you to the point. And so my recommendation is make sure that you get the essence and the fundamentals of quality early on, because that will help you to be good in the future. The other thing is that, and I know this is a bias that I have, I feel statistics is critical. Without having good grasp of statistics. And I think statistics is an excellent tool to explain quality. I mean, I use it a lot to explain so many concepts when it comes to quality. I even say, use it to raise attention about, comparing to universities or to schools or whatever. And I use standard deviation, I use accuracy measures, precision, and all these small things, and it really hit with people understanding variation. And so I also recommend pay attention to statistics. So make sure that you start, Joran's handbook is excellent. I mean, that would be a good place where you can build your background. And also, if you allow me, also I think you should really register in a seminar or in a course about what is quality fundamentals, with my friend Suresh. He will get it in a very clear and concise and right to the point. And statistics. These are the three major points in my mind if you want to be good in quality. Also, one of the things that you should really do early on is to get yourself in the habit of reading. Read. People don't read. Read and write. The more when you write, you really register things well. Okay. So read and write. Join a professional society. Be active, and write articles to the professional journal. Uh, you know that's how you're going to be growing. When you write, you'll find what your capabilities are. You will learn where you are missing. Read, write, read, write, read, write. Reading is critical. And also, this is an advice that I had from my friend Suresh. Don't give up. be patient and be at it. Okay, you're gonna get there. Honestly, personally, my career in Kuwait now, if with all modesty, I feel like if people want to get a point of view about quality or any, not even qualities, things related to how to improve Kuwait, the development of Kuwait, because I wrote another book about developing Kuwait, they come to me. Okay, because I kept at it. I mean, I didn't give up. At some points, I felt like it's struggling and stuff, but you should be patient. Even you're gonna stumble along the way. It's okay, stumble, fall, but don't stop. That's the major thing you should do in your life. And I hope that you will have a flourishing career.
Wow.
Thank you, Professor Tariq. Wise words. While you were saying, talking about statistics and the patience part, one thing we've learned from Mr. Lula as well is that even if you don't get to the goal that you had set for yourself, the journey will be worthwhile. You will enjoy the journey, and sometimes that itself is quite adequate. We are all students of Mr. Lula, so we resonate resonate in that sense. So thank you. Balaji, while
Yeah.
you were briefly away, I did ask the question about back in the past. What will Professor Tariq advise the young Tariq? So
Yeah. I
you want to
got
move to
that.
the next
I
question? Yeah,
kind of lost my connection for some time.
no problem.
So yeah, and while he was answering that, he very interestingly touched on the other question which we have for him, right? You very quickly touched on that, Tariq Saab, where you said about the books. You spoke about Dr. Duran's handbook, but you've been focusing a lot on statistics, and of course, then it's the role that it plays in managing for quality. Uh, are there any books you could recommend? One, if you could say on generic quality, and then something to do with you use the word understanding variation. So, are there any books that you could recommend to our listeners here uh,
I
on
I
that?
always first of all I have Douglas Montgomery's book. I like to have them
Okay.
with me. But statistics, this gives me, all the background that I need. Also, Duran's handbook, always there. I mean, whenever I need something, I go and you see, uh, I'm saying read, but also be selective, okay? Because your time is precious, okay? And so you have to be careful. Consult people, like my friend Suresh. Uh, they will guide you. The quality fables are excellent because they really, uh, you know, make you touch what quality is all about. Real stories, that will really give you a sense of reality. Okay,
Yes.
so that is something you should always read and have accessible to you. Other than that, I always like my daughter. She just finished her first year in medicine, and I'm so proud of her. She's my youngest daughter, and she studied in a book called Medical Statistics. So I took that book from her and I'm reading it and I'm enjoying it. I'm seeing the quality from the perspective and statistics from perspective of medical. That's a joy, you know. So I wish I can. I'm reading Arabic books now, but what can I tell you is that these are the really, fundamental books that you should be, and always stay in touch with the technicals. I always have a new book that I'm reading about statistics.
Oh,
Fantastic.
that's amazing when you said medical statistics, because we use the control charts here in India for COVID data
Hmm.
to give
Um,
the limits, etc. Yeah, go ahead. Ansh.
Balaji, we have some audience questions. So
Oh, great,
uh,
great.
I think quite a few audience questions, but I'm trying to select a bit. I got totally engrossed in Professor Tariq's answer on the books that I forgot to look for the questions. So let's blame him in this case. Uh, So I'll bring the question on the screen as well. But Tarun Kohli, question is any suggestion how quality concepts can be inculcated even among school-going students so that it becomes sort of a way of part of life or their everyday thinking. Any thoughts on this? His question is more around how do we get it into the school system.
Uh, Quite honestly, I mean, currently, for example, it's very critical, like I said, for you to ensure that you get good education is to have good teachers. That's where it all starts in my point. And I've heard something that has been mentioned, and I believe it's so true. If you have a good teacher and you have a bad curriculum, you still can manage. But if you have a good curriculum and bad teacher, you cannot do it. Okay, so it all starts with a good teacher. Make sure that you produce good teachers. How you do that? For example, in Kuwait now, I'm getting involved in a project where we have two colleges that graduate teachers. Okay, and I am really working with them on applying criteria and standards that are related to quality into their practice. And we are using CAEP. I don't know if you know about it. It's a standard that's used in the US. And also we're using another standards that really more technical. It's called INTASC. And so we are really applying quality in producing good teachers. Okay. And personally, I got involved a month ago in giving a training to people in College of Education on how to implement these standards. So this is critical. The other thing is that there is something called teacher license, and that's something we are trying to do also in Kuwait to make sure that people who practice teaching, they have like a professional license. You know, like for example, engineering, you have a professional engineer for you to practice. Similarly, you need to make sure that you have some sort of professional licensure or certification when it comes to teachers. Uh, as a matter of fact, here in Kuwait, the field is so wide to what you can do when it comes to helping education. We are the government is so much interested in elevating education because they realize without it, they cannot achieve development objectives. So, and quality, like I said, is in the heart of education. Now, when it comes to students and parents, and my friend Suresh talked about it, parents are an integral part of education. Okay, you have to engage them, you have to involve them dearly and precisely. They are your customers. Okay, students also don't think of students' comments as not important. No, they are so critical. Okay, and so I mean, the whole practice of education is quality. I mean, what can I say? Whenever I mean, I'm trying to identify specific points, but whenever I say a point there, I find out that I forgot another point that is there. That's another place. It's all when you talk about education, quality permeates the whole quality, the whole education system.
And so it should be. And thank you, Professor, for sharing some actual practical examples of where you're involved. Otherwise, sometimes all this seems like it should be done, but nobody is doing it. But you are actually doing it, and kudos to you and the Kuwaiti education system where it is actually being done. And that is usually the proof of the unless we do something, we can keep talking about it, but nothing
You
will change.
see, my friend Anshuman, uh, they need to see what quality can do for them to really appreciate it. You can talk about quality from here to eternity, and it's not going to make a difference. But they need to see actual results, and once you show them results, they will be loyal, and they will come to you and they will ask you for help, and then you can really achieve national objectives, not only career objectives, but you're helping your whole country to improve.
Truly well said. I have one more question which I have selected from the many that have come in. Uh, Slightly longer question, but very quickly, Devraj is one of the earlier participants on the show. He's a distinguished qualitist himself and works for the Tata Group. So has done a lot of work in the field. And his question is very, of course, firstly about you about statistics, and he's also been an academician earlier, and now within the Tata Group. And of course, you are a professional consultant as well. What would be your views on how the organizational culture impacts the quality journey of organization? So, the impact of culture on the journey of quality, and of course, the question goes on, but that's the core crux of the question.
Culture is about attitude, it's about behavior, and really you need to change people's mindset about the importance of quality and how quality really can be conducive to improvement and to achieving real outcome. He also pointed to diversity. Diversity now is one of the criteria of ranking in all programs, in the QS, in Times Higher Education, in Shanghai, in all these ranking programs. Diversification is very important. Diversity at the level of at the level of faculty and at the level of students. Now, fortunately, in Kuwait, now they finally realized that Kuwaitization can be very harmful because they tried to Kuwaitize the students' body, and that really, that's not good. You need to keep some non-Kuwaiti also among Kuwaitis, okay, because that gives them a sense of tolerance, even it will really uh, help them to see other way of people seeing things, like the culture, the cultures of others and how it really impacts their behavior and their thinking. And so that's what they've done. I'm trying to really hard to push them towards diversity, more diversity at the faculty. You see, before the invasion, we had a large faculty who are non-Kuwaitis. After liberation, I don't know who was that smart guy who wanted to Kuwaitize faculty members. And so they did that, and that really did harm more than good to education in Kuwait. You see, even if in the best universities in the world, you will find that when it comes to education, you don't look at nationality, you look at competency, okay, because that's so critical. I visited Maryland University, I visited Purdue University, and I've seen that in the College of Engineering, for example, more than 50% of the faculty are not of Anglo-Saxon background. Okay, they're Indians, Chinese, all these backgrounds. I don't know if they're American, probably they are American by nationality. But you see, don't they have blue eye, Anglo-Saxon people who have PhDs? Yes, they do. But they know that it's more important to hire the best of the best when it comes to faculty members. And that's always my message, is that don't look at anything other than competency, capability, especially when it comes to education. Because education, you don't want to play with that. You want to produce the best possible graduates. And so you want to make sure that you hire the best to be the faculty members.
No, really hard-hitting message. Thank you, Professor.
Yeah.
Balaji, you want to move towards the last question that we have?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
We
since
are
sir has
towards the
spoken so much.
last 10 minutes of the show, so maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you've spoken so much, sir. I mean, and I think we've taken away a lot
I'm
of
sorry,
learning.
I get to speak a lot sometimes. That's Suresh knows me. When I
No,
speak,
we
I
know
don't
that.
stop
We want
talking.
that.
So you have to tell me sharp.
We all love to talk. We're very talkative people here.
Not like me. I talk all the time. So I need to always remember that I should stays quiet sometimes. And I thank
I
you
mean,
for that note that you have in the message, about to keep it 3 to 5 minutes. That's a great one. You know, I always have it in the back of my mind when I'm answering.
But that is
so
all because of Mr. Lulla's teachings.
yeah,
Put a clear
Yeah,
instruction. People
that's
should
a
know
great.
what they have to do. So if any credit, it goes to him. Any mistake, we will claim.
You have a great guru in
yes,
India. Let me tell you, you're very fortunate.
yes,
Yes, sir.
sir.
You want to say something?
Yeah, I want to say something. It's fascinating to see so much discussion on education and the passion with which Tariq has been delivering. The 2, 3 minutes doesn't matter. I'd only add one comment here. We tend to focus on attitudes.
Ah,
HR is ABC.
these, I'm waiting
Work
for
on the
this.
attitudes, and behavior will change, and you'll get a commitment. Nonsense. It doesn't happen that way. Whose attitude can you change? Can you change your own attitude? It's the other way around, according to Duran. Get a commitment first. Get the commitment, define the change in behavior expected, and inshallah, you may get a change in attitude. To focus on attitude is a waste of time. Can you change the attitude of your family members?
Suresh, sir, you remember
Okay.
the video of Dr. Juran on this,
That's a hard one.
where
That's a hard one.
yeah, when he shows an egg and he says that the attitude is like an egg. It you have to incubate it and then it breaks and then a chicken comes out. If you try to hasten the process by heating it, you get a boiled egg. You can't change it. So my
So
question to you,
Suresh,
Tariq
please,
Saab, yeah.
since you've mentioned that, Suresh, so how do you get commitment?
By defining your problems clearly.
Okay.
And the problem decides the team, not the team, the problem. Then you train them to address a problem solving methodology. Commitment will follow.
Very few words, but right away to the point. No need to. Thank you, Suresh.
So, Tariq Saab, the future, what do you think is going to be the future of quality, whether it's education and being as a consultant? Where do you see it going now?
I mean, quality is going to be always there. I mean, when as long as you have organizations, customers, and you need to make sure that you're doing well, satisfy them. Quality is always going to be there. It's not going to go anywhere. As a matter of fact, I always remember what's his name, Steve Jobs. One time he was in an interview, and one of the not an interview, it was like a big hall, and there was some audience and stuff. And there was that guy, in the audience, and he looks so technical, And he asked Steve, he said, when it comes to, and he mentioned so many technical terms, and then he said, where do you see the future? And Steve Jobs, he said, goes like this. And he said, this is not the thing that really worries me. What worries me is how can I get to learn what the customers really want. Okay, so and then I can worry about this. That's the major difficulty is to really anticipate, because what they're doing, they're innovating, so they are creating things that are non-existent. So he's saying, how can I sense and learn and what the customers really want? That's my main priority. The technology comes later. Okay, so you see, people talk about technology, metaverse, and Web3, and all that thing. If you don't really address the user, then it all, it's not going to be useful. So quality is going to be there. The more I practice quality, the more work I'm doing. So it has a great future for Kuwait. The sky is the limit. We need quality all over the places. And people at one point thought that automation is going to be the panacea, but I see a lot of real examples of when you automate a broken process, you get a broken automated process. so so that's a lesson that everyone needs to be aware of, and I can give you hundreds of lessons of what we see in public transactions and stuff where that's so true. So I don't want to go more than that. I think I exceeded my 3 minutes, so I'll keep quiet.
Thank you so much. Yes, Anshuman.
Yeah, so I think pretty much there are a few more questions, but I'm looking at the clock. One principle in quality is be on time. So, but I'll sneak in one more.
24.
John Noruna wants to know, given that quality is design plus compliance plus improvement, broadly the Duran trilogy. Two questions. One, is it true that the focus currently is almost exclusively on compliance, and is that a problem? In the disruption environment, should the focus shift more to design, which is the DFSS or design thinking and the likes? Any views, sir?
I will defer this question to my friend Suresh. He knows how to answer this better than me.
Good one. None of us could do this live on a show to Mr. Lula. He needed you to do this. So thank you very much.
And John Narona, I agree with you. We have to build quality into design. If I may have a minute or two,
Sure.
we were working with a client on acrylic fibers in Bangkok. And the client was very happy. He produced so much, and his product went into wholesalers, who in turn gave it to distributors, who gave it to customers. So, one simple question: have you met your customer? He said, wholesaler. I said, no, have you met your user customer? And when you trace that acrylic fiber, it was ultimately being used in Sweden to manufacture toys. And children know how to abuse a toy. Eureka. The CEO started visiting the final user and started designing accordingly. So, Mr. Narona, it works. You chase the customer, not your competition. Chase your customer, not your competition, and be proactive about it, please. There's no consolation prize for being second in the marketplace. And things are changing so rapidly, you have to be continuously in touch with customers. That should be the primary job of a CEO. Okay?
Thank you. Well said, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have quite a few more questions, but I think we will have to end the show. Bakri, Tarun, Sanjay, some of your questions. What we'll do is that since these questions will stay live on LinkedIn, later on one of us, and if possible, Professor Tariq can also try and answer. So please be patient with that. And thank you to all the audience. There are quite a few today, so this is a pretty popular show. So once again, thank you everyone. Mr. Lula, thanks again for joining this show. Your presence always lights up the show, and it reduces Balaji's and my workload as well. So from all of us and Professor Tariq, most prominently to you, and particularly, on a day where, on Eid today. So from all of us, Eid Mubarak.
First day of Eid today.
First day of Eid, from all of us to you, your family, all your
Thank you.
loved people, Eid Mubarak.
Thank you.
And to anybody in the audience who's celebrating, and to all of us, Eid Mubarak once again.
Eid
And
Mubarak to you.
thank you. We'll end the show with, as always, the announcement for the next show, 6th of August. We'll move from education and quality intersection to healthcare and quality intersection, and please look out for those announcements. So with that, right at noon India time, I will end the show. Thank you very much for joining. See you next time. Bye bye.